I was educated in Switzerland as a Catholic. And I was in a boarding school for 6 years, led by Jesuits. Of course, as a young man, I was a deep believer in God. I am still a deep believer in God. But as a young man, my God had to have some certain qualities. For example, God does not need a vehicle in which to move around from point A to point B because God is all over. Or God doesn't need to make an experiment and to wait what the result is. He knows it in advance, he's out of time. So in that boarding school, we had to make translations of the Bible, from Latin to Greek and Greek to German. And then I realized that the God in the Bible does not have this quality. The God in the Bible, he uses a vehicle in which to move around. And I wanted to find out if other communities in antiquity have similar stories or only we Christians. That was the beginning of everything, doubts in religion. I said, we have been visited by beings from outer space. I am sure about this. So the next question must be, where did these visitors come from? We have no idea. Have they been influenced by another solar system? Okay, where did they come from? You can play back the game for millions of years. Finally, in every respect with religion, you arrive to a starting point where we say, here is God. Here is the beginning. You will not lose God. So when you deal with extraterrestrials, what you will probably lose is some of your personal religious beliefs, but you never lose the belief in God. I know we definitely have proof that extraterrestrials were here some thousands of years ago. In the old books, the best evidence definitely is Enoch. Enoch was a prophet in the Bible before the Great Flood. He was the 7th patriarch before the Great Flood. The same Enoch has written a book. The book of Enoch was found in Ethiopia 160 years ago in an old convent. And Enoch is the only one who speaks in his books in the first person, in the I form. He explains what happened at his time. He says that two beings from the sky came down. They took him, they asked him if he wished to go with them up there. They would teach him. He go with them. So he explains all this, what happened. He sees the planet Earth from above. He describes it as a bull, which no one could have known in Stone Age time, etc. So seen from the antique literature, Enoch definitely is the best evidence. If you need something which you can touch or film, you go to Mexico, you go to Palenque. Palenque is a Mexican city from the Maya culture, and there is a so-called temple of inscription. And under the temple of inscription, there is a room which is big, and there is a tombstone. They call it a tombstone. It's not a small plate. It's 3.80 meters long, 2.20 meters large. When you look at it, you see a sort of frame. In the frame, a human is sitting, bending forward, almost like a motorizing cyclist. He uses his two hands to manipulate his controls. You see his fingers. He's manipulating control. He has something like a mask on his nose. He's sitting on a chair. The heel of his left foot is on a pedal. And outside of the frame, you see a linking flame coming out. So optically, this is very, very, very convincing, the tombstone of Palenque. But the critics, they don't read the books. They don't know the topics. They don't have the information. I love discussions and fights with critics because they lose anyhow. Puma Punku is in the highland of Bolivia, roughly 4,000 meters high. And there, about 20 kilometers away from Lake Titicaca, you see gigantic stone structures. I say gigantic because some of these platforms have a weight of 80 tons. And these platforms and stones, they are carved and constructed in an incredible way, which is impossible for Stone Age people. With Stone Age tools, you cannot do that. Some of these stone structures are prefabricated blocks. That means they fit together. So prefabricated means you have to calculate this before, you have to design it before. Now in local archaeology they say, this is the product of the Aymaras. The Aymaras are a highland tribe of Indians, but the Aymaras were Stone Age people. They didn't have the planning. And some 400 years ago, roughly, the Spanish conqueror were up there for the first time, together with the Inca, with the local. And the Spanish were very impressed about these gigantic stones. And the Inca said, it is not us who made this. It is not our ancestors. It is the gods, the guardians from the sky, the teacher from heaven who made this. So you can prove it in Puma Punku in the highland of Bolivia. Now our generation can know more, but our forefathers would have not understood nothing. If my grandfather would have read an old story where somebody writes down, visitors from another solar system have come here, my grandfather would have taken this as a fairy tale. You know, this is impossible, this cannot be reality. Only our generation really starts to understand space travel in big distances are possible, extraterrestrials do exist. We are not unique in this universe, and even some extraterrestrials are similar to us. You see, you can say another solar system has completely different other planets, so evolution will be completely different. Maybe there are extraterrestrials who look like flying elephants, what do we know? But there are also extraterrestrials who look similar to us because the so-called gods, I say so-called gods, created humans after their own image. We are, so to say, the copies of them.